President Trump again today talking and tweeting tough about funding for his wall in the face of another potential government shutdown. Let's drill down further on this. I'm joined by Andrew Arthur with the Center for Immigration Studies. Art, thank you so much for joining me. The president talked tough again today, and he tweeted pretty tough about the funding for the wall over the weekend. What are we looking at? Where do you think this thing's going?
I think that the president is looking at the potential appropriations that are coming down. I think that there's some things that he wants out of immigration. He wants an end to family-based chain migration. He wants to move over to a merit-based system. He wants to end the visa lottery. He wants to end catch and release, and he wants funding for the wall. Those things are all reasonable, and I think that he's right to draw a line in the sand and demand that he get them.
And I do as well. He's drawn this line in the sand before. That's my fear, Art. When it comes to funding for the wall, clearly McConnell and Ryan and most of the Republicans, they don't want to go anywhere near a government shutdown. So how do you see this playing out? I mean, that seems to be the obstacle.
I think that I think it's the whole package that he wants. I think a lot of people focus on the wall. In fact, I think that the president uses the wall as shorthand for the various immigration fixes that we need. I mean, we can see right now that we need a fix to Flores. We need a fix to the TVPRA and to credible fear in order to end catch and release. Right now, we've got federal judges who have tied the government's hands. We're going to have more people coming over the border because of that. So I think that the president is in a strong position, but the fact is he's got to have some leverage. Right now, we've got a Congress that doesn't want to act or is concerned about acting before the midterm election. I think that at the end of the day, the president is probably going to give them the latitude to do what they have to do in order to maintain the majority. And then he's going to be demanding the fixes that he knows are necessary.
I.e., we got to toughen up our situation on the border. But you also concur that we're talking about a literal wall as well. I mean, that's part of the package, isn't it?
Absolutely. One thing to keep in mind, Joe, is that you're not just talking about people coming across the border. You're also talking about contraband and drugs. And if we don't have a barrier to prevent vehicles from crossing into the United States with large numbers of people, vehicles from crossing into the United States with drugs and contraband and guns and who knows what else, we really can't get control of that border. I don't know that we need a border across, 1,960 miles of the south, or that we need a wall across 1,960 miles of the southwest border. But I think that we definitely do need barriers where we need an impediment to people crossing freely into the United States, or else we don't have a border at all.
Oh, I so concur with you, my friend. If it gets down to, I mean, if we get into mid-September, and it comes down to, funding for the wall, and obviously the Democrats are going to make a huge issue out of that. As you rightly said, the Republicans, no way, no how do they want to shut down the government a month before the midterms. What do you see happen with any potential funding for the wall?
Well, right now, the Democrats have absolutely no incentive whatsoever to deal with the president. They're fighting for a majority in the House of Representatives and possibly one in the Senate. I don't think that they're going to get one in the Senate. And I frankly don't think that they're going to get one in the House either. But they're going to use all the leverage that they can against the president, so they have no motivation whatsoever to negotiate. It's going to be left up to the Republicans in the House of Representatives to actually get anything done as it relates to immigration. And right now, it's going to be very difficult to do. But I think that the president is going to continue his efforts. I think that it's possible that, a budget deal could be presented and that he will, make a threat to veto. I think that we'll end up getting some money for a wall. I think that we'll get some wall improvements where we need them in the next budget, just enough to tide the president over before he renews his efforts in the 116th Congress.
Hey, Art, grade this president overall so far, these first 19 months, on generally on border security and fighting this important fight against people who come into this country illegally. How do you think he's doing?
I think that he's got a good, solid B+. I mean, the fact is he's completely changed the conversation as it relates to many flaws that were in the immigration laws. The fact is, we're the largest immigrant receiving country, And yet we decide who gets to come into this country by who they're related to, not the skills, the abilities that they bring to grow to our economy or to add to our country. That's completely ridiculous. And until Donald Trump came along, nobody was talking about channel migration. He's also talked about ending the diversity visa lottery. It's been an idea that's been kicking around for a while. Chuck Schumer even proposed it at one point. The president has renewed that. Catch and release. He's actually put meat on the bones of that. It's taken 2 federal judges to stop him, but I think that the Justice Department is going to end up prevailing at the end of the day on that question as well. So good, solid B+. He's working his way toward an A.
What's the biggest concern, Art, because this is obviously an issue that you sink your teeth into every day. When you look at our situation at the border, the whole immigration issue, what's the biggest concern?
The biggest concern is the lack of detention space and quite frankly, the laws that prevent us from detaining families to prevent other families from coming in the future. The fact is we can detain mothers and fathers and children in a humane manner. We can give them medical care, dental care. We can give the kids education. But we need to detain them until we can make a determination as to whether they're eligible to remain in the United States or not. As soon as we release them, we've basically given them what they wanted, and that is to be free in the United States and have the opportunity to work here illegally.
Catch and release, Art, man, we can't go back to those days at all, correct?
Yeah, but the problem is that right now we've got 2 federal judges, one in Los Angeles, one in San Diego, that are hobbling the efforts of the president, of Attorney General Sessions, and Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen to actually end catch and release. And again, what that does is it exposes people to the dangers of smuggling. Women get raped. People get robbed and assaulted along that border because they trust themselves to smugglers, people who should not be trusted.
Hey, Art, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time. No veteran in America